So some of you guys might be new here. Some of you guys have been here since the start of the year. But just to make sure that you guys are not in the wrong class, because there's another primary science class happening at the same timing. This is the primary 4 science class. Okay, that's not the primary 6 one. The other class that's happening now is for primary 6. Okay, at the same timing, same day, Sunday, 12 p.m. So if you are in the wrong class, feel free to leave now and then join the other class. Okay, but if you're in the correct class, if you're here to learn more about P4 stuff, okay, then you're in the correct class. Okay, so my name is Teacher Bobby. You can type in the chat, Bobby, teacher, I'll respond to those. Okay, let us do a brief recap. Okay, let us do a brief recap on the life cycle of a flowering plant. Okay, do take note, we are focusing on flowering. Okay, so firstly, looking at this life cycle, what do we know? Okay, looking at this life cycle, what do we know? Okay, what do we know about this life cycle? How many? Okay, like what Audrey has just mentioned, there are 3 stages. Okay, there are 3 stages in a flowering plant. And they are the seed, the young plant, and the adult plant. So what do we know about the seed? Okay, what do we know about the seed? In order for the seed to grow, or when the seed grows, what grows first? Okay, when the seed grows, it will grow roots first. Okay, it will grow roots first, then the shoots will grow. Now, so in some of the older questions, some of the people, when they are doing the experiment, right, they boil the seeds for some reason. They boil the seeds. Do you think the seed will be able to grow if the seeds are boiled? What's so special about the boiling process that stops it from growing? You are correct. Or many of you are correct. Suddenly all the answers come. Okay, if you boil the seed, the part that will grow will die because it is too hot. Like what Jeremiah mentioned, the embryo in the seed, it will die. Okay, so basically anything that you're going to cook, right, will most likely die. Okay, so after that, it will become a young plant. Okay, after that, it will become a young plant. Now, sometimes we don't use the term young plant. What is the other term that we can use as well? We can use the term seedling. Okay, generally seedling and young plant, they have the same meaning. Okay, they generally represent the same stage, but seedling tends to be like the younger plant compared to like a young plant. Okay, so for example, it'd be like a baby compared to a teenager. Okay, both are not adults yet. Both are still considered young, but there are obvious difference, like between a baby and a teenager. Okay, so how come when you buy seeds, the seeds don't grow? Okay, now that is a very interesting question. So I will just touch upon it a little bit. Firstly, it does not sense water. Okay, so that's why if you buy green beans or any other beans from a shop, it doesn't just grow in the bag. However, if you want to know more about this, right, it will be taught in P5. Okay, it will actually be taught in P5. It will not be covered in P4, so I will not go into greater details here. Okay, now, after the young plant has grown, okay, firstly, in order for it to be considered a young plant, it must be able to start making its own food. Okay, it must be able to start making its own food. And only after some time, it will grow into an adult plant. So when do we consider it as an adult? So when do we consider it as an adult? We'll consider it as an adult when it starts to bear flowers. Okay, when it starts to bear flowers or it starts to develop flowers. Okay, not when it has true leaves. Julius, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. True leaves will be for young plants. Okay, so it will start to grow flowers. It will always have flowers before fruits. Just that some of the flowers might not be very obvious. Okay, just that some of the flowers are not obvious. Okay, so if the plant is able to grow flowers on its own or develop flowers on its own, it will be considered an adult. Okay, so these are some of the things that we covered last week. Of course, that's not all. We also went into all the particular details, okay, for each stage as well. Now, Xingyi is asking a very interesting question. What about non-flowering plants? We'll actually talk about them later as well. Okay, so don't worry, we'll talk more about them later. Okay, if you have any questions, just post in the chat. If I manage to see it, I will answer them. A seed is a living thing. Okay, a seed is a living thing. But how does it get its own food? We know that a seed is like part of the plant family. But we know that plants get their food from the leaves. But a seed doesn't have a leaf. So where does it get its food from? Okay. So while I'm saying all this, right, asking the question, oh, I see all the answers coming out. Yes, it is from the seed leaves. Okay, seed leaf. So a seed will get its food from the seed leaf. So normally I will use this example. A seed leaf is like a bag of food. Okay, a seed leaf is like a bag of food. It will keep providing food. Okay, it will keep providing food to the plant until it is able to make its own food. Okay, so it's not like the normal leaves that we see on a plant. It's more of a special type of leaf. So the more you take from, the more food that you take from the bag, the lighter it becomes. Okay, the more food you take from the bag, the lighter it becomes until it is empty. And what will the plant do with the empty bag? They will throw it away. Okay, or they'll just drop it somewhere. Okay. So then how does a seed respond to changes? So how does a seed respond to changes? Kylie, it's not normal leaves, it's a seed leaf. So it's a different type of seed, different type of leaf. Okay, so similar to how just now someone mentioned, why doesn't it grow? It actually responds to water. Okay, so like I mentioned just now, a seed will only grow if the conditions are correct. Okay, a seed will only grow if the conditions are correct. One of the conditions is water. So if the seed requires water to grow or requires a lot of water, and then you put it in the desert, it will not grow because there's no water for it to respond to. Okay, so that's why if you try to grow a seed on a moist cotton wool and a dry cotton wool, the one on the dry cotton wool will not grow. Okay, so as we have mentioned just now, when a seed is growing, or some of you guys have already mentioned the other name for it, when the seed is germinating, okay, the roots will grow first and then the shoots. How do cactus get water? They also get it from the soil, but it's a lot deeper. Okay, that it goes very, very low. What happens if there's too much water? It will still grow, but if the roots are sensitive to water, the roots will start to rot. Okay, but if the whole thing is covered in water, then it will not grow. Okay, so there's a difference. Too much water and completely covered in water. Okay, although both means too much water, but one is more than usual. The other one is like you're basically covering the water. Okay. So we'll go on to the next stage. What about aquatic plants? Well, they are unique plants that requires a lot of water or able to grow inside water. Okay. So it really depends on the amount of water the plant needs. So I use the word too much, but for plants that grows in water, there will never be too much water. Okay. So as we have mentioned just now, a young plant is also known as a seedling. Okay. Now, what do we know about a young plant and the adult plant? Okay, what do we know? So if you think about it, right, most of the 3-stage life cycles, they have something very similar. Okay, most of the 3-stage life cycles, they have something very, very similar. Or they look similar. They will always resemble, yes, resembles the adult, like what Yong-Sing have said. Okay, they will always resemble the adult. So although it might look like a tiny plant, but it will share a lot of similar characteristics from the adult plant. And we have mentioned just now that when the plant starts to make its own food, okay, that's when we consider it as a young plant. Okay, that's when we consider it as a young plant. Now, let's go to the next one. So after we talk about, so do all plants have seed leaves? Yes. Okay, so after we have talked about the young plants, we'll talk about the adult plant. So as it grows older, it will start to have more leaves. So as it have more leaves, it will be able to make more food. Okay, and why does it grow? To help the plants take in things from the soil. Okay, what does it grow to take in more things from the soil? Okay, it will grow more roots, or the root systems becomes more elaborate. So it will go further, it will go deeper, it will take in as much water as possible. Okay, and this is for the purpose of taking in water and minerals. Okay, this is for the purpose of taking in water and minerals. Some school teachers might say mineral salts, some school teachers might say nutrients. Okay, now, so all plants will need sunlight to survive. All plants will need sunlight to make food. Okay, just now someone asked me whether do a flower need sunlight. As long as it has leaves, okay, it will need sunlight to make food. Now, so how do we know that it is an adult plant? Like I mentioned just now, when flowers appears, and over time, what will the flower become? Will it just stay as a flower? Over time, what will a flower become? Some of you guys might have already learned it in P5 because you are a P5 student. But after some time, right? Okay, the flower will develop into fruits. And what can we find inside fruits? So things like your apple, orange, papaya, you'll find a lot of seeds. Okay, and over time, these seeds will grow into new plants. Okay, now do take note. All that we have been talking about, they are only for flowering plants. It is not true for all plants. Okay, only for flowering plants. So they'll just keep repeating the cycle over and over and over again. So if we have only been talking about flowering plants, then what about non-flowering plants? Do they have a different life cycle? Okay, they technically also have a 3-stage life cycle, just that they do not produce flowers. Okay, non-flowering plants, they do not produce flowers, but instead they produce spores. Okay, instead they produce spores. And these spores can be found in, so just now some of you guys already mentioned, like what Jared has said, these spores can be found in spore bags. Okay, they can be found in spore bags, normally under the leaf. Okay, normally under the leaf. How does spore feels? They are powdery substances. Okay, they are like powder. Okay, some of you guys might say that it looks disgusting. Some of you guys might think that it looks very cute. It's personal preference. Okay, you can touch it, but they are powdery. So it will have similar stages, just that instead of having a seed stage, it will be a spore stage. Okay, instead of seed stage, it will be a spore stage. Okay, I don't know why someone just called me Mr. Diaz. That's not me. Okay, so similarly, how do we know that it has reached an adult plant without flowers? Okay, how do we know that it's an adult plant without flowers? Very simple. Remember, anything that is able to reproduce will be known as the adult stage. Okay, everything that is known as an adult stage has the ability to reproduce. So for a non-flowering plant, it will be spores, and then it goes to a young plant. Then it goes to an adult plant, and then the whole cycle continues. Okay, it'll just keep going and going and going. Can we eat spores? Depends on the spores. Actually, it depends on the plant. To be fair, spores are very tiny that you might not know that you're eating them as well. Okay, but generally, if you are going to eat spores on purpose, make sure they are safe for consumption. Okay, so let's try this question together. Okay, let's try this question together. Now, so Johnny visited the eco garden in his school and saw a small plant. Okay, he saw a small plant with leaves and some fruits, but without any flowers. Then he concluded that it is not a flowering plant, it's a non-flowering plant. But his teacher said otherwise. So why is that the case? Okay, why is that the case? So the first thing he said is fruit. Okay, so what's so special about fruit? Okay, so if it bears fruit, what does that mean? Okay, if it bears fruit, what does that mean? Okay, so you guys are correct. Because fruits are developed from flowers, it must mean that it is a flowering plant. So once again, very important to take note. Okay, very important to take note. All plants, right? Flowering plants do not bear flowers all year round. There'll be some times where there's flowers, and then there'll be times whereby all the flowers have turned into fruit. But because the space is still occupied, they can't grow more flowers. Okay, so maybe after the fruits have already been removed or taken away or dropped from the plant, then it will start to grow new batches of flowers. It also depends on the condition it requires to grow flowers. Okay, so just because it doesn't have any flowers, it doesn't mean that it is a non-flowering plant. So today we'll be going into a recap. Okay, bubble questions focusing on the recap of what we have learned last week. So before I continue on to the bubble questions, okay, is there any other things you have to ask? Okay, Natalie just asked, what if we see an adult plant that don't have any flowers? Is it necessary it's object, a non-flowering plant? So once again, if we know that it's an adult plant, right, and it doesn't have any flowers, you have to look for the presence of fruits. Okay, you have to look for the presence of fruits. If there's fruits, right, it means that it is a flowering plant. Okay, if it doesn't have any fruits, then you have to look for the presence of spores. Okay, but there are also certain cases whereby the flowers cannot develop into fruits. But this one you'll learn more about in P5. Okay, so if there's no fruit, then you have to look for spores. If there's spores, then we know it's a non-flowering plant. For this question, I'll give you guys 1 minute and 30 seconds. Okay, 1 minute and 30 seconds because it's quite a long question and you might need to paste things together. So you have 1 minute 30 seconds to arrange the letters in order. Now, so for those who didn't manage to get this correct, right? Focus on the different parts of the plant. Okay, focus on the different parts of the plant. Okay, so we stop spamming. We know that from a seed, you'll start to grow roots first. And from roots, they'll grow the shoots. Over time, as it becomes a young plant, it will start to grow a lot more leaves. And it will be able to develop flowers and have fruits as it further develops. Therefore, the answer is 4. Okay, therefore the answer is 4. So this is a pretty simple, short question. So you will have 30 seconds. Okay, you have 30 seconds. Only when it has leaves or true leaves, then it will need sunlight to make food. Because to make food, you need leaves. And so if you guys are asking, why only 5 bubbles, Jill? Then you ask yourself, is this question very easy? Yes, this question is very easy. So you don't need more than, so you shouldn't be getting a lot of bubbles for this. This picture shows the papaya plant. So this picture shows a papaya plant. Now, how do we know? Now, how do we know that it is an adult plant? Okay, so once again, you have about 30 seconds. 30 seconds to choose the answer. So in this case, for this question, the answer is 2. So just like what Johnny saw in the eco garden, as long as you see fruits, okay, as long as you see fruits, okay, this means they are able to, this means they are adult plants. Are there plants that are harmful? Yes, they are called poison ivies, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, a lot of people are allergic to them, or the sap of the poison ivy is actually poisonous. They can cause rashes. Okay, there are also fruits that are poisonous as well. Okay, like the pong pong fruit that some of you guys might see around Singapore. Okay, chance of death depends on whether or not you're severely allergic to it. Like there are people who are allergic to peanuts, and when they eat peanuts, they will have severe allergy reaction and they can actually die from it. Simon, once again, if it's an adult and it's a non-flowering plant, you should be able to find spores. Okay, or spore sacs. Now, this is quite a lengthy question. The options are rather long. Okay, so we have to decide on whether stage X or stage Y can produce flowers and provide the explanation. So I'll be giving you guys 1 minute and 30 seconds to read through the options and to think which one is the correct answer. Okay, and the time starts now. So let's take a look at this question. So half of you guys managed to get it correct, and then half of you not so lucky. So let's take a look at the stages first. So we know that there's a seed stage. So that means seed X must be which stage? What stage should seed X be? Seed X will be what stage? Mid stage? Okay, what stage will be seed X? This will be the young, yes. This will be the young plant stage. And stage Y will be the, okay, stage Y will be the adult stage, yes. So from here, once you have identified what are stage X and Y are, okay, what are stage X and what is stage Y, X and what is stage Y, we already know that 1 and 3 will not be possible. Okay, yes, English is kind of hard, that's why I'm stumbling over my words. So once we have identified the different stages, we know option 1 and option 3 will not be correct. So we're only left with option 2 and option 4. So by now, you guys will know that option 4 is correct. But what makes option 2 wrong? Is there a word there that, when I think about it, it doesn't really make sense? The word become, or the second become, to be more exact. Okay, it's the second become that is more exact. So some of you guys know that when you eat an apple, when you eat a watermelon, a papaya, a mango, there are already seeds inside the fruit. The fruit don't become the seed. Okay, the fruit and the seed comes together. Okay, the fruits and the seeds come together. So it will actually contain some fruits. Okay, it will actually contain some seeds. So a flower will actually develop into fruit and seeds. Okay, and inside the fruit, there will be seeds. Why do bananas not have seeds? How many of you guys think banana don't have seeds? I'm curious about this. How many of you guys think bananas don't have seeds? Okay, bananas have seeds. Okay, bananas have a lot of tiny, tiny black seeds. If you bite a banana, you'll notice that in the middle, there are many, many tiny black dots. Okay, just that they are not like the seeds that we use to grow plants. In fact, they are so tiny that they can't be used to grow another banana. They cannot use to grow another banana plant. They have to use a different method to grow a banana plant. Okay, but that's only for the bananas that we eat. If you are talking about the bananas in the wild, okay, their seeds are very big. In fact, most of the banana will be seeds and there'll be very little flesh. Okay, now let's take a look at this question here. So sometimes we have to state the differences between a seedling and an adult plant. Okay, sometimes we have to differentiate the seedlings and the adult plants. So how are we able to differentiate them? Okay, so the first one will be in height. I won't say height. I'll actually use the word size. Because there are certain plants, like the watermelon, they don't grow upwards. They actually grow sideways. Okay, they grow on the field itself sideways. because watermelon is too heavy to grow upwards. So size will be a better term to use in this case. Because if you're talking about height, they are still stuck on the ground. Okay. And what about something that an adult plant can do, but a seedling cannot? Okay. It can reproduce. Yes, it can reproduce and bear fruits, while a seedling cannot. Now, do take note for this question, right, or for this answer, some teachers will not accept it. Okay, some teachers will not accept this. Now, how can we improve option 2? How can we improve the second answer? Some teachers will say that cannot, and then they mark you wrong. So why do you think they will mark you wrong? So some teachers who are very strict, no, this is wrong. So how can we improve this question or this answer? Not specific. Or like what Kate said, cannot what? Okay. So what can't it do? It cannot reproduce and bear fruits. So if you want to be really detailed or you want to play safe, okay, you have to mention specifically what it cannot do. If you just say cannot, what do you mean by cannot? Okay, now we have Ali, and this time he did something to the plants. He took some of the seeds from his plants and grow them in a separate plot in his garden. Okay, in case you guys don't know what it means by separate plots, it just means a different area. Okay, it just means a different area. Okay, so in some books or shows, they say plot of land. So that's what we use to describe land, actually, different plots. Okay, and they notice that it grows into young plants. So what should he observe? So you have 1 minute, okay, 1 minute to choose the correct option. So for this, the answer is 3. Now, looking at the options that you guys have selected, okay, looking at the options that you guys have selected, most of you guys chose option 4. Okay, most of you guys chose option 4. Why is option 4 incorrect? Okay, why is option 4 incorrect? Okay, which word should not be there? Okay, the word not. Okay, the word not. So for plants, because they are all of the same species, they will share the same characteristics. Since it comes from the blossom plant, it will also be able, since the seeds come from the blossom plant, as the seed grows into an adult, it will also be able to bear fruits or bear flowers, develop into fruits and seeds. Okay, so that's why option 4 is incorrect. So now we have a group of students who observe there's an increase in the number of bees. Okay, interesting. Now we are talking about bees for some reason. Okay, in the garden at a certain period of the year. So given that the bees are attracted to flowers, okay, when will there be an increase in bees? This seems to be a pretty straightforward question. So you have 30 seconds to answer that. So notice, what are the bees attracted to? The bees are attracted to flowers. Okay, the bees are attracted to flowers. And flowers can only be found in the adult stage. Okay, bees are only attracted to flowers and flowers can only be found in the adult stage. Okay, And I did mention earlier that seedling and young plants, although they are technically the same, but one is like a baby, the other one is like a teenager. Okay, let's have this little try together question. Okay, so there are some students, okay, that are still struggling with this kind of questions. Okay, some students are struggling with this kind of questions. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so based on the given information, which plant will reach the adult stage in a shorter period of time? Okay, so which one, A or B? So it's actually plant B. Okay, it's actually plant B. So some of you guys might be thinking, why plant B? What's wrong with plant A? Why can't it be plant A? So, like what Michelle said, this is something like a math question, but you have to know what numbers to add. So, since if you take a look at A, right, we want to know when it reaches, okay, reaches the adult stage, when it becomes an adult. So if we take a look at plant A and plant B, how long did plant A take to become an adult? How long did plant A take to become an adult? It takes 30 days. Okay, it took 2 days as a seed, and then it took 28 days as a young adult. So it will stay alive as an adult plant for 36 days. But if you just want to reach, the adult stage, right? We don't need to consider about the adult stage at all. We just need to count the 2 or the other stages before it. Therefore, B is the correct answer. So with that, you guys should be able to do the last 2 bubble questions. Okay, you guys will be able to do the last 2 bubble questions. So do take note for this question. Okay, for this question, there's only 2 options, 1 and 2. Pressing 3 or 4 will not result in any bubbles awarded because there's only 2 options here. Okay, I said that, but I know there will still be people pressing it. No idea what. So you'll be given 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer this question. Okay, so look at the graph properly and answer the question. And your time starts now. Okay, so there is still 1 question after this. Notice this is part A. Okay, and you guys should know that the answer is 2. Now, why is that the case? Okay, why is that the case? Now, to take note, there's only 3 options. There's only 3 options. That means option 4 is definitely wrong. Okay, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds to do this question. And the time starts now. Okay, do not click on option 4. There is no answer, or there is no option 4. Just as I said that, someone pressed option 4. Okay, so the answer is 3. For those who are wondering why, firstly, when do we harvest corn? Okay, when do we harvest the corn? We'll harvest it when it reaches adult stage. So as soon as it reaches adult stage, you can harvest the seed. Oh, sorry, you can harvest the corn. So will we want to let it grow in the adult stage? If you're a farmer, will you want it to grow in the adult stage? We will just be happy that, okay, it reached adult stage ready, time to harvest. So if that's the case, we don't have to care about the adult stage at all. Because farmers will just grow the plants until it reaches the adult stage. The first day of the adult stage, they will start harvesting. Okay, harvest will be cutting down the plants so that they can sell certain parts of the plant. Okay, or in this case, the corn plants, they will actually sell the corn. So if we take a look at stage of our corn type X, it will be 10 days plus 8 days. This will be 18 days. 4 days plus 10 days, 14 days. Okay, so that's why Y is better. Okay, so with that, we have covered the recap on the life cycle of a flowering plant.